Alright, hello everybody, Game Cooker US Rocks VR here. How y'all doing today? Um, just jumping back into Primal again. Um, just because, well, I don't know, just feel like doing that. Um, most of you know, I'm not real consistent with the streams, but I'm glad that you guys stick around with me. Don't forget to like, sub, and share, and donate to the channel if you can. Um, you know, even though I'm inconsistent and unimportant, maybe, you could still help grow the channel by getting the word out and supporting. Um, and again, I do kind of take requests as far as games go. I mean, if you want me to try out a game, I'll try to do that if I get the money. Or if you guys, want to gift me a game and say, hey, check this out or play this, or whatever, that would be fine too. I will definitely make a video in that regard. Um, so I'll just get the the crux of my commentary out of the way, I guess, right off the bat. Um, what happened? Is it frozen? Oh, okay, no, it's not frozen. So I think, what did I have? What was it called? Let me look at it again. Hold on. I hear something. Give me a second. Sorry, I thought somebody was coming up here. So, if I was going to have a conversation, then I was going to just deal with that. Yeah. So, ooh, I hear something. That might be on the that might be the server hearing a Rex. So the title is what sand female dinosaurs and Final Fantasy singers have in common. uh, that's not really listed as a question. Um, so that wasn't a mistake that I left out the question mark. Um, anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to talk about those three things real fast. So the answer is going the way of the dodo, right? I guess, again, forgive me. I'm not really like one of these kind of commentator guys who can get on here and just, um, of course, thunderstorm has to come. Like there's a lot of commentators out there that put out content all the time, and they just basically critique articles, media news feed information and stuff like that. And those people do that all the time. So, they have their little layout already set up and, their template and all that stuff. Me, I don't have anything set up. I'm just random. I just do things off the cuff. So, it may not be as elegant or, uh, well worded, as they. Um, so, yeah, I'm just kind of like shooting off my mouth. Um, so the first thing that I wanted to mention, which is funny, and if I do these kinds of videos more often, and they won't always necessarily be like hyper political. They may be related to politics. I mean, because it's hard not to relate anything to politics today, right? Because the left has to attach everything to politics, right? Like there's no more normal. Like you can't be like normal. Like you can't just like say, well, you believe what you believe and I believe what I believe. That's no longer that's no longer an option for them, right? They're like, you either think like we do or you're rejected, right? Like that's their mentality, right? We are right, you are wrong. There's no other way, right? So yeah, so everything is going to be kind of pushed on the political side because of them, right? So yeah, so that's all I'll say about that. Ooh, Rexy Poo. Hello. I hear you. Oh, two. Nice. Shall we bring him over here? Yeah, let's do that. I think I pissed two of them off. Yep, pretty good there. Yep, they're pissed. They are pissed off. Oh my god, where's my log? Where's my favorite log? Alright, hold on. Gotta put a hold on the sand. Because I'm gonna talk about sand first. And you won't believe what I got to say about sand. So I'm gonna try to like at least mention something funny or ridiculous. Oh my god. Whoa. Really? Whoa. I thought she was gonna charge me up here. Wow. Excuse me. I'm scared. She's really like... Whoa! My god. How big is she? She must be huge, because they usually can't get up on top of here. Wow. Yeah. I think he's a little mad about, he's a little upset about Aunt Nessie. Yes? Hit the vertebrae, they don't like that. He's a little one, too. Come on. What's that, Ma? Socks? Alright. Thank you. I'm online right now, so I can't get up. This one doesn't want to go too fast, huh? One more good hit. I think if I get one more good shot in there, he'll be good going down. He'll be going bye-bye. Make sure the door's closed, Ma. Alright. Well, I don't know, man. Okay. What? Oh, I thought he was running away already. Come on. What's he doing? He's going away now? Oh. Ah. God, I hate that double shift click thing. Why do they have that feature still? It's very annoying. If you hit shift 3 times, it like, you know, goes into like accessibility mode. I can't believe they have that. Oh. No, 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 no. No. You are not leaving. Not allowed. So everybody, the server's open. If you didn't already catch that in the chat feed there. So if you have the game, come on in. It's open. Open server. God, I wish I knew how to make games. If I had money, I would certainly pay somebody to make games. Oh, whoa. What's up with this? Whoa. Double team, huh? Hey! That's not fair. Alright. Okay. This is not good. Alright. Let's see if one of them picks me up. Ah! I'm gonna die. Alright. This is ridiculous. I don't really have the right gun. I don't like using that 700 for the birds. I like this one. Alright, now we're good. Now I'm ready for you. Come on now. They're gonna both come at me at once. Well, they're going really fast too. Oh, what? He didn't die. What's up with that? Ah, oh. What? I hit him again, right in the face. What's going on here? Hit him again. He saw that blood. Now he's gonna fly away. It's gonna die. So I might crash too. Hey F-Blast, what's up? What's happening? Okay, now that we got that done. Should die. There it goes. Plop. Now, I wonder if I can kill this thing. It'll probably die anyway, eventually. They usually do if you kind of whack them a few times. He'll just fall out and fall down out of the sky. But you can actually hit him. Let's see. Oh, he just keeps turning there. But actually, if I stand here, if he does come back around, I may be able to get a good clear shot at him. Maybe. So he's going to keep turning, or he's going to come over here? No, he's going to keep turning. That's a good thing. Let's see if we can get him. Oh, he's coming over here now. Let's see. Oh, now he wants to... What is he doing? Wow, he's going too fast. Way too fast. Alright, anyway, well the game might crash a few times, so bear with me when that happens. So anyway, as if things aren't crazy enough in the world, and stick with the stream. Just because commercials come on or whatever, don't get all uptight about that. YouTube, gives, as much as we don't like YouTube for a lot of things, they do give us a free platform. So when you watch the ads, trust me, you'd have to watch like 1 million ads to make like a significant difference. You know what I'm saying? On my revenue, right? Because they only give you like pennies, on a video, and since my videos hardly get any views, it's like literally just nothing, basically. So, but the ads do help YouTube stay on, so don't be all, oh my God, I'm stressed out because now there's ads coming on, and well, I mean, you have to kind of be realistic from a business standpoint. They are annoying. I don't like watching them all either, trust me. But, I still watch people on YouTube. I don't go move on to another video or something. I tolerate the ads and just click skip if that's what I need to do. Anyway, so let's talk about sand. So now again, take all of what I'm saying. It's not hyperbole, okay? This is all stuff that I actually like seen, okay? But I'm not gonna put up, like I said, I'm not one of those guys who are gonna put ads, articles up on the screen and all this other stuff. Why I'm playing the game. That's not really what I'm doing here. I'm trying to enjoy the game, but at the same time, I'm trying to have stuff to talk about because that way I'm not just sitting here running around silent. So I saw a commercial or an advertisement of some sort. I don't know if it was an advertisement of a business or corporation, or if it was like, you know, some one of those nonprofit environmental organizations, you know. Um, Now there is one thing that I did want to look up real quick, and I apologize. Um, Ooh, I heard a Rex. Okay, so I just Googled something real fast, so I didn't check it to see if it's accurate, but it was posted in 2019. I mean, you could probably find different numbers depending on who you talk about. But in this advertisement or ad, in the ad, they were basically, well, they basically said there's a sand shortage, right? Now, that's pretty crazy, right? That we're running out of sand. That's what they kind of said, right? We're running out of sand. I think that's the words that they used. And then they went on to talk about, you know, we have to conserve, right? Like, I mean, think about that for a second. We're running out of sand. Now, I'm sure that most people, most people in the world, right? Hey, how'd you get me? Most people in the world have probably been to a beach at some point in their life, I guess. So if you haven't been to the beach, let me know in the comments, okay? If you've never been to the beach, or never been to the ocean, or never been to any beach for that matter. Maybe you're stuck in the mountains and everything's like locked lakes or something. Or wilderness. So pretty much any public lake has sand. Any beach has sand. Any very big lakes like the Great Lakes, you know, in the U.S. have sand. Most seas, as far as I know, have sand, right? And last I remember from learning in school that most of the Earth is made up of iron and silicate, right? I mean, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but that's like literally what most of the planet's made of. So let me know again if I'm wrong there. I mean, it may be like, it may not be first and second. I do acknowledge that. Okay, so, but I mean, there's an awful lot, right, of those two elements. Like, you know, as far as I know, that's like two elements we have that are not a, like, it's not a problem, right, to have them. So I just Googled real fast how much sand is on the Earth. All right, now listen to this. Nope. Here comes the Rex. Hold on. I'm gonna try to kill this one with the arrow. Hold on. Right? Just think about that. We're running out of sand. I just, like... like, we're just, like, going... Oh, look at it. It's a rare. Oh, the rare. The rare, the rare, the rare, the rare. How far is he? I better watch out. She might get me. The rare. Now if I take a screenshot, it's gonna crash. So I'm gonna take an Nvidia shot. Oh, what? Oh, wrong one. Wait, no, that was the right one. Why didn't it work? Where is he? That's Cool Soul. Where the heck? Oh, is nobody here? What happened? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What happened? It crashed already? Oh my god. That's pretty dumb. Anyway, well, I told you it was probably gonna happen. I'm on my main computer and Primal just does not run well on this one. I don't know why. Every computer's different. Like the computer I gave my son to use, it always ran very stable on that one, but I don't have that up here anymore. And sorry again for the sniffles. The one that the server is on, it runs fairly stable on that one, although it does crash eventually. So just beware of that. But you guys get in the game before it, it doesn't show up on the internet anymore. Well, at least we know she's there, right? So, I wonder where it's gonna put me. I hope it doesn't drop me right there again, because then I'm dead. Dead meat. Let me know how the stream is, the quality and all that. It should be good. Alright, so I am basically... where? Where'd they kick me here? I'm assuming I'm still close. Oh, wow. Oh, whoa. Huh? This way. Okay. Way over here. Okay, so she's over here. I'm probably heading back towards where she is. Maybe. Nope, not maybe. This way. I get so confused. Yep. Anybody need the rare T-Rex? Let me know. Ooh. Alright. So I guess it's just me and her. Just me and you, lady. Oh, that guy's going fast. I'm assuming that is her. that her? Is that a different one? Oop, oh my god. Yep, that's her. Whoa. I don't know if I can get up on this one. Oh, I can. Ooh. Hello. Hey there, beautiful. Now I might crash again because I took a screenshot. Oh my god. Gotta be careful. I don't want her to come up here. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. Oh! Whoa! 2 shots. Wow. Really? Huh. Isn't that something? Nice. Now, the server needs this. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It didn't give me the high score. 2,220. I mean, 2 hard shots. What's going on? Pfft, that's pretty dumb. You know what I mean? Very dumb indeed. Oh, that was not the one I wanted to do, but whatever. Alright, so back to sand. Alright, sand, sand, sand. Make sure you go listen to America, Sandman. I think that's the name of the song. No, actually, that's not the name of the song, is it? I don't know, let me know. Because Ventura Highway is not the song where he talks about the Sandman, right? Yeah, I think that's 2 different songs. Anyway. So, fun fact, it says here that there's 7.5 sextillion sand grains estimated to be on planet Earth. Now that's sand grains. Right? That doesn't include the silicate that's in the earth, you know, like in quartz or whatever. That's 75 followed by 17 zeros. Is that more stars than are there more stars than grains of sand on the earth? They say yes. That's crazy, huh? Let me drop him some ammo here. So that's a lot of sand. You know? You wouldn't be able to live long enough to count that high. You know? And you can figure that out by just, you know, how many seconds there are in a minute a day. Come on. Oh. Oh, it's glitching out. Oh boy. It's glitching out. What happened? Oh, it glitched out. What happened? Did he... What's the sad face for? Did he... Oh, you know what happened? The dinosaur, Oh, never mind. I thought he put a sad face there. I did not look carefully enough. Yeah, so sand. So we're running out of sand. So just remember that. Running out of sand. So after they take all of our rights away and ability to travel where we want, buy what we want, do what we want because of climate doomsday, which again is just such such silly. It's pretty obvious why they're doing that. Anyway, but I'm not going to get into climate change. You know, you guys believe what you want, but it's a mechanism for control. That's all it is. If you just think logically about everything they're saying, the only climate change that's coming is fire coming down from heaven. That's spoken of in Revelation, called the lake of fire. When God purifies the earth and the universe before he makes everything new again. But anyway, that's the only climate change you got to worry about. Hell. Second thing was female dinosaurs. So I was originally gonna put something in the title about female dinosaurs being cannibals, right? And why I said, you know, the reference to the title of this video about sand female dinosaurs and Final Fantasy Singers is they're all going the way of the dodo, right? In other words, they're all being removed, right? So female dinosaurs are slowly being replaced by male dinosaurs. And the reason why I was going to put in the title originally about female dinosaurs being cannibals because they eat their own. Right? Like all these women on the left talk about how bad men are, right? How the patriarchy has been oppressing them all these years, right? And you know how there's still like a high level of inequality, supposedly in the workplace when it comes to women versus men. Yet those same females who cry about women's rights, misogyny, patriarchy, inequality, mistreatment, are sitting here allowing the men to literally, right before their eyes, take over women's rights, women's positions, get better salaries, and get mistreated by the LGBT. And I'm not talking about the gay and lesbian, I'm talking about the transsexuals, right? Now, hey, first thing I want to say is I'm not here to say that I hate transsexuals. I do not. I don't hate anybody. They have a right to do whatever they want with their life. Okay? If they wanna act like a woman, then they can act like a woman. I know that some of you guys don't like me saying that, but we all, if we want to really embrace freedom, then we have to embrace it. It can't be for one or some, but not for all. Okay? Now, this is the stance that a lot of us have taken for many decades, right? Predominantly the last 100 years. The left comes swooping in, and they've been like chipping away at this stuff for a few decades now. Unfortunately, we've been ignoring it, right? But now these same females who supposedly love women are right there behind, or I should say they're right there ahead of the transsexual community and the LGBT community, because it doesn't just stop with transsexuals, right? You have the no gender, you have the whatever. I don't even know what they have anymore as far as genders, right? They just make stuff up. So I don't even follow it. You know what I mean? I don't care. To me, there's male and female, right? Male and female. That's what nature shows us, and that's what's obvious when you look at the anatomy. Okay. Um, I heard something. Oops. So the women are right in ahead of those transsexuals, leading the pack with their voices against women. Right? These women on the left are leading the pack with their voices against other women. As the transsexual with their big penis is like ramming it right up their rear ends. Right? You better support us. You better support us. You better support us. All the while they're getting an enormous amount of sexual gratification by sticking it right up their rear end. Oh my God, this is not good. Wow. This is really not good. Oh my God. Not good, man. Wow, there's like a million trike over here. Well, at least he's stopping, so that's a good thing. Are you serious, man? You're gonna make me waste my arrows? God, another one? I'm gonna end up dying. Oh my God, are you serious? Ugh. The server's glitched. That's why that trike didn't die when I shot it. It should have died. I didn't want to take out my 700 because, I didn't want to attract too much attention. But I should have just chopped them up after I shot them. Alrighty then. Got another one over here. Where am I at? Oh, wow, I'm over here. Wait, where is this? Oh, wow, I'm way over here. My goodness. That's far. Yeah, so, all these women do is just cannibalize their own kind, right? They eat their own kind. Like, it, it makes no sense at all, And they have no, like, with the climate change and the LGBT and the, all these, like, things that they're bringing up that are not true, most of them, right? Racism is not a big part of America. That's BS, man. I'm 52 years old. I've been all over the country. You know what I'm saying? And racism is not a problem here. It is now because the left is making the the black people hate the white people, right? Or whatever. And then they're agitating the white people, and now the white people are like going, what did I do wrong? Now what's up with what's up with everybody else hating us, And this is what they're creating. They're creating the racial tensions. You know what I mean? The political left. And I don't understand how people can be so gullible to just accept this. Like, I mean, anybody who lives here, right? When you go in your neighborhood, when you go to the store, when you're walking in the neighborhood, I mean, you could see that there's no racism here. Right? Now, I don't know what goes on in the cities. I mean, the cities are always a mess, no matter where you go in the world. You got gangs, you got so many different types of people living around each other who have totally different cultures. So, of course there's going to be cultural tensions, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's racism. You know what I'm saying? Cultures have always clashed, Especially when you have people coming here from foreign foreign countries, right? And like when you have the borders wide open, like we do right now in America, right? Where you have people coming into this country who have not taken the time to learn about America, to learn our culture, the free culture, to learn the language, right? And so this is what they're creating. They're creating an atmosphere of tension. Like this is their purpose, right? This is what they do, right? This is exactly what they do. So the very thing that they keep saying, people like me who are just normal person, the conservatives, whatever, freedom-loving people. Oh my God, I went over too far. They're the ones creating the situation. By telling lies. And it's really it's evil. That's evil. Right? That's evil. When you create strife, that's evil. When you gaslight all the time, that's evil. Like that's what evil is. Most people in America just want to be left alone. They just want to live their lives. They just want to survive. They just want to be happy. They don't care what the guy down the street's doing. You know what I'm saying? As long as that person is not hurting them or breaking into their house or causing trouble of some kind. But of course, I can kind of understand why people get on board with this leftist mentality, because the human heart is not good. Right? The human heart is inherently evil. It's not good. It's selfish. And unfortunately, because of that, people love violence. They love hurting other people. They love taking advantage of other people. right? They don't have a problem inflicting pain on others, you know? Now you might say, well, aren't you being a little hyperbolic now? No. Many tests have been done already scientifically that showed when you give people absolute power to do whatever they want, they always take advantage of it to feed selfish desires, control, and they take that opportunity to inflict pain on others, right? Which includes violence. Many tests have been done already in that regard. You can look all that up. You know, don't look up anything recent because I wouldn't trust anything most recent. Like, you know, look up stuff that studies they did back in the, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago. um, yeah, so these women today who supposedly are supposed to be the champions of women's rights are not. Because they're supporting the people that are taking away women's rights, which are not conservatives, which are not Republicans, which are not normal everyday people. Right? This is the political left that's doing this, and the corporations that they support. Right? So what was the last thing? Oh, the last thing was you must be like saying, "What are you talking about, Final Fantasy Singers?" Now, I didn't really research into this very much, so I will disclose that right now. Okay? So, I came across a video by a YouTuber, Melanie Mac, who some of you may know. I don't know, but Melanie Mac. It's spelled how it sounds, except the Mac is M-A-C. So it's Melanie space M-A-C. Melanie Mac. Okay. Um, and again, you can kind of say this is. You could say this is related to the dinosaurs eating their own. You know, you can maybe even kind of relate this to that too. But so the left, whenever anybody, all they are is just looking to hurt people, and this is one proof, right? This proves what I just said. There was, ads are going to be playing. I can see on this stream soon, so just stick around because I'm going to keep talking about it. Let me get my bag here before I continue. Before the server crashes. Oh, I forgot to drop mine. Oh, and I will get my revenge on all these trike. These trike are not going to live. So anyway, I came across Melanie Mac's channel, and she was talking about a Final Fantasy singer, I believe. Again, I didn't dig into it, so forgive me. But she was a singer, I think, who sang some songs for the Final Fantasy franchise. I'm not sure which games. I don't know if it's the MMO or if it's one of the, you know, one of the JRPGs or whatever they're called. Um, but nonetheless, she was a singer, either for a choir or she was a solo So again, this is how these people act, right? This is how these people act. So there was one person at least who was going around Twitter telling people to look at this particular woman's singers, right? This woman singer, Twitter or social media, and see what she's been posting, right? So apparently, she's been on social media like thousands and millions of other people are, right? It's our right to be on social media. It's our right to comment on what we want to comment. It's our right to believe what we want to believe and follow what we want to follow, and it's our right to live how we want to live, right? Remember rights? Remember human rights? I'm just reminding everybody, remember freedom of conscience, which is what so many people died for during the Dark Ages when the Catholic Church was putting them all to death. Um, right? I just want to remind everybody of that, right? So this apparently the singer posted something on social media that the leftists didn't like. And they either, so this is what I'm not totally sure of, and forgive me again, they either will not allow her to sing for the Final Fantasy franchise anymore, or, hold on, or they won't allow her to come to a event where all these people are gathering together for some awards or something like that, like some event where all the singers and stuff were going to be at. So she's not allowed to go. Okay? So think about that for a second. A person who should be there is not allowed to be there because of a social media post. Now, I understand that you guys are probably going to say, well, where have you been? Hiding under a carpet? It's like, well, no. But why are we accepting this? Right? Why are you okay with it if you're okay with that? Why are we okay with that? Why is anybody okay with that? I mean, think about that. I mean, this should be like alarming to everybody. Right? This should be very alarming, and it should be alarming to these modern feminist activists, right? Because here's a woman whose livelihood, I'm assuming, is music. She's a singer, right? This is what she does, I'm assuming. Is not allowed to go to an event because of a social media post that is catered towards people who, I'm assuming, sing or have some, there's some relationship there between gaming and singing, or just singing, right? So where are all these people who love women, right? All these loudmouths that say they love women to come to her defense? Because, if you care about racism, if you care about human rights, if you care about freedom, then that freedom transcends political ideology, right? And this is what people have forgotten, right? This is where freedom of conscience comes into play. You can't have freedom without freedom of conscience. Like, you can't have one without the other. If you don't have freedom of conscience, you're not free. And if you don't know what freedom of conscience is, look it up. make sure you look up an old definition, not a new one. Right? Look at a dictionary that's like 150 years old. Because they're redetermining everything now based on the leftist ideology. Because most of the colleges are leftist, right? And don't think that none of this stuff is going to affect you. See, me talking about this, right? Here's what I'm expecting by me talking about this, based on history, right? Based on the past. Number one, this channel will eventually get taken down. Number two, I will get kicked off social media. Eventually. I won't be able to get a job. I won't be able to have a bank account. And if they go to cryptocurrency, they may just not allow me to buy or sell. They might block all my ability to have transactions. You see, you might think that that's crazy, but that's where this is heading. Eventually. As you sit back and do nothing, this is what's going to happen. And don't think that you're going to be immune to it. Right? Because the same standards that you and I are allowing are the same ones that will be applying to us. Right? We will be judged by those same standards. That's how it works. And you can already see now, even if a person on the left decides to either change their mind and look at things differently, or maybe they might agree with something, like, for instance, the war in the Middle East, right? Because apparently the left likes terrorism, right? They love terrorists. That's what they like. They don't care. To them, it's not terrorism if somebody's getting killed that is opposed to their ideology, right? And I'm alluding back to what I said before about people being evil in the heart, right? See, people who like freedom and who like humanity, they're not for killing people, no matter what they believe, right? You don't care about humanity if you're for killing people, right? This is why I can never get on board with that kind of ideology, right? The only ideology that I can get on board with is that we are all free to be who we want to be. And we have basic laws to protect us, like don't murder, don't steal, right? That kind of stuff. But I'm not for canceling somebody. I'm not for firing somebody because they said something I didn't like, right? I'm not for hurting people because they don't believe the way I believe, right? What we all should be for is a free society. And the left is not for a free society. They're not for a free society. They're not for a free society. And I said that 3 times on purpose. No matter how you shake it, no matter how you sift it, no matter how you look at it, they're not for freedom. Right? They're only for, you're going to do this because we say so. You better do this because of climate change, because of this, because of that. No. The Earth's going to be fine. CO2's never been a problem in all the Earth's history. And if they believe that the Earth is billions of years old, then we should have had climate doomsday many times over. Right? Because the Earth has had much more CO2 in the past than it does now. Oh, that was a bad idea. Oh boy, I didn't really prepare well on this one, did I? Oh no. Oh boy. Wow. That was close. Whew. So, firing somebody or not allowing them to participate in events that are geared towards um, their profession, right? Because again, this event or whatever was going on was geared towards either gaming or music and gaming, whatever it is. And wouldn't that be considered bullying? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but would that not be considered bullying? I thought the left was against bullying. So do you see how this ideology is like self-contradictory? It's like it's oxymoronic, like the behavior. Right? They don't like racism, but yet they create racism. They don't like bullying, yet they bully. Right? They're always crying about violence against uh, blacks, LGBT, and all that stuff, but yet they call for violence against people who don't think like them. They say that they want freedom, but yet they want to put restrictions on everybody. I mean, just go down the list. Go down the list. You won't find something that's not contradictory. Right? They say they're against religion except for when it suits their political agenda. Right? The Bible talks about the rainbow. It's a reminder that God's not going to send a flood to destroy the earth again. And yes, a flood did destroy the earth. If you look at the topographical map of the earth, it's pretty obvious that there was a great catastrophe that the whole entire earth experienced. Like, you don't get these trenches from the ocean like just being like it is now. The trenches are created from like a horrific, catastrophic plate tectonic event, with water involved, right? So, I'm not going to get into that, right? You can deny it all you want, but that's just reality. That's what it is, right? Same thing with the fossil record. Everything's laid out as if it was underwater. All the fossils, right? You got the crustaceans on the bottom, and then you have the mammals on the top because they float, right? So they would be the ones up top, and then the mud comes along and it buries them. So they would be above all the other stuff that's settled. Same thing with the dirt grains. They go from coarse on the bottom to fine up top. And if you look at the layers, like in the Grand Canyon and other places, there's no erosion in between those layers to say that 60 million years went by. Wow, I'm really getting the wrecks are all over the place today, right? You can look at all that. Hey, what's up, TNT Gaming? How you doing? In fact, they find whole trees in some locations on the planet that go through several different layers. And every time you find that, oh, wouldn't you know that they make some other excuse in those particular spots to justify in that location there wasn't 60 million years. They were local flooding events. Like, really? How does that work? Like when you have those layers going for like who knows how long, 50, 60, 100, several hundred miles. That's a pretty big local flooding event, if you ask me, when you're talking about like thousands of square miles. I guess millions at that point, right? Because, you know, it's just, it's, I don't know, man. I'll tell you, as a human race, we deserve this. We deserve it. People deserve to be oppressed, to go back to the Dark Ages again. Because we allow this to happen every time. As I said in the other video, if you look back in history, human beings have only allowed people to oppress them. Right? In all the history of the Earth, the 5,000 years of history that we've had on record, most regimes, most empires have been oppressive. They've been tyrannical in nature. And that's what we allow every single time. There's only very short pieces of time where we've been free. Only short pieces of time where we've actually stood up and honored freedom. And that's sad. That's pathetic, kind of. And here we are again. America's been free now since the Revolutionary War, and now all of a sudden it's not in style anymore to want freedom. Like, I will be called a name if I say let's be free. Let's all be free. Let's just all get along, all be free. You do you, I do me. We all get along and live happily ever after. You don't need to step on my toes. I don't need to step on your toes. If you wanna fight against climate change, then you walk to school. You walk to work. Right? You drive an electric car. Right? This can all be done with us all getting along. Because everybody doesn't have to drive an electric car to fight climate change. And I'm not saying I believe in the CO2 thing. I don't. CO2 is our friend. It helps plants and trees grow. Right? It gives us a lush, warm earth. That's what we want. Why do we want a cold earth? They want to reverse it. I mean, how utterly crazy is that? That's like mad scientist talk. That's why it's so stupid when somebody says we're running out of sand and we have to conserve. And if you missed that TNT, go listen to the beginning. Sand. We're running out of sand. I mean, look at how big are our deserts? I mean, look at the desert in Africa. Look at the desert in the United States. We have a pretty big desert. Look at the desert in China. Look at Australia. I mean, hey, Australia, it's only nearly as big as the United States and only nearly has a desert as big as itself. That ain't much sand, right? We're running out of sand. I mean, what ridiculous, like, it's like when you thought it was really bad, when you thought nothing can get worse, it gets worse with these people. Because you can never be satisfied. Because even if they did manage to finally get all this stuff implemented, and the Pope has now, I think, retargeted to 2028, COP28. I think just look that up if you want to know what that is. You know, I think he's shooting for us getting everything in place by 2028 now, because obviously 2025 is right around the corner. It's probably not going to happen that quickly. Yeah. Right, but we're not talking about rocks, TNT gaming. right? We're talking about sand here. They said that we're running out of sand. But you're correct. There's so much. I already mentioned that earlier, that the Earth is made up of iron and silicate, right? So it's like you're you're never gonna run out of sand, ever, you know. And the ocean is always creating more sand, right? With storms and stuff like that. Like rock is always getting pulverized. I don't know. Crazy, man. But even if they put everything in place with this whole climate change doomsday thing, it's not going to end. Because these same people who want to stay in power, and that's the whole reason for all this, right? They want authoritarianism. They're gonna have to find something new, right? They're gonna have to find some other crisis, right? This is how they got in power to begin with in Europe, by creating crises, right? And all the people in Europe, and forgive me, I'm not trying to offend you guys, but you bit it hook, line, and sinker with the whole euro thing. It started with the euro thing. Oh, let's all have one currency. And that way, everything will just be so much less complicated. And we'll be able to travel, between nations without having to worry about passports and all this stuff. You know? That's how it all began. And everybody was like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. We'll all have one currency, and everything will be so prosperous, and everything will be so wonderful. But in order to do all this, we have to have a European Council who overlooks all this stuff, right? A government who oversees governments. See, that was the red flag right there that they should have said no to. Right? They should have said no. Each of our own independent governments are going to dictate what's what. And if one of our governments don't agree with it, then we can't do it. You see, that's what they should have done. It should have been a republic setup. Yeah, like it should have been a European republic, but they don't want that. See, this is why they want to kill America. This is why they don't want the republic here anymore. And this is why it's very difficult to do things in the United States, because it's not because we don't care about the environment and all that stuff. It's just that each state here has its own independent government. Most people don't know that because they're not taught that. Right? They're taught that, oh, we're a democracy, and the democracy and the majority must rule. No. That's why the founding fathers wanted the republic, because the majority should not rule. Because when you have the majority ruling, you get the European Union. You get high taxes. You get cancel culture. You get people calling for the harm of others if they don't think like them. You get people thrown in jail for saying something. You get people fired for saying something. Right? This is why they don't want a republic. Because when majority rules, then the minorities are oppressed. You see? And the minorities are bullied. See, a republic avoids all that. Because it makes it very hard for majority to rule. And that's the purpose. In a republic, a minority can't rule. That's not how it works. That's why we have the three branches of government here. The executive, judicial, right? And Congress. Right? The legislative branch. That's why we have three branches of government. So see they thought this well out before they made the Constitution before they set us up as a country. They well thought this out because they didn't want the tyranny to come back again, like they were under England. And this is why leftists want to do away with all that. Because in a republic, you can't. It's very hard to have totalitarian control. You see? Now they're getting around certain things today because our lovely politicians who are leftists just ignore the Constitution. And some judges who are leftists, they ignore the Constitution. See, that's the flaw in our system. You could say it's the good thing in some respects, but that's also the flaw. That politicians can just ignore it. Right? If they don't uphold it, then we're screwed. But see, they're the ones who are doing the evil thing then. Because they're not living up to the standard that our founding fathers put in place when they voted this nation into existence. You see what I'm saying? So oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. The shift thing. Oh my God. And now I don't know where I am. I'm going to try to get on the slope and hope that it can give me some protection. You know, no system is perfect. And no system ever will be perfect. But the system that they created here was about as good as you can get. Right? With still having a system where there can be some compromise. Right? Because you have to have some flexibility in a system, right? And that could have been one of the big flaws too, right? Because the Constitution should never ever be able to be overridden, you know, unless some very in other words, it's got to be very difficult to override a constitution of a country, right? Again, that could be good or bad depending on who's running the country, right? Like in the United States, there has to be 33 states that come together, right? They have to come together, right? And debate on changing the Constitution. Then they have to vote on what they want to change, and then I believe Congress also has to approve. It has to be approved in Congress, right? So it's not something that can happen easily. But again, like I said earlier, is that if there's enough politicians who are against the Constitution, then they can simply ignore it, right? They can simply ignore it. right? They can still go after their political opponents. See, this is the other thing. They can use like the FBI and other agencies to harass and oppress the opposing political party. And that's very unfortunate. And they should not be able to do that. There should be a law against that. You know what I mean? Or there should be other things in place that have to be, say, approved in order for that to happen, right? Like when it comes to, I don't know, there should be other safeguards for people, so that they can't just get harassed by the political party of the opposition. And we don't really have something in place that is very protective there, you know. If the FBI wants to arrest me today, then all they got to do is have some reason. And of course, the left makes up reasons, right? They could just say, "Oh, I was saying things that are racist, or I was saying things that were, whatever, they want to say." Um, they can just make something up, you know, based on my words, and they can just arrest me, and they can hold me indefinitely. Like they don't even have to try me. They can just hold me in a cell, you know. And these kinds of things you should not be able to do, right? That should be against the law, right? It should be very clear what you did. It should be very clear of the evidence, and it should be very clear that it was illegal. You know, like saying things is not something that should be illegal here. We have freedom of speech in this country, and we should be able to say whatever we want, no matter how dumb it sounds, no matter how mean it is. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm not saying that we should be mean. I'm not for saying mean things to people, or whatever. But, you know, if somebody wants to, you know, say something or have an opinion, well, whatever. I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to agree with it. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. But people should not be getting thrown in jail or losing their jobs because of saying things. Like, that should be illegal. Like, corporations should not be able to fire you because you happen to say something that they don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? And unions, I've been part of unions, so I'm not against unions. But unions should also be stepping forward here. But see, the problem with them is they are on the left, a lot of them. See, they all talk about protecting the workers and this blah, 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 but when it rubber meets the road, they're silent. Like, they should be standing up for people who get fired for simply saying something. Because when you're in a union, if you do something wrong at a company, right? When you have a union, you don't get fired because you did something wrong, right? You get suspended, right? There's a process. You get suspended, and then you're able to come back, or if they don't have something already in place where you can come back, then you get suspended, and then they have a meeting with the shop steward or whoever, the representative of the union and representative of the company, and you come together and you talk and you say, well, we don't really approve of what you said. That's not really something we want said here at the company, and we don't want you saying that stuff anymore. And the union representative will say, do you hear what they're saying? So, you can come back to work, but just, keep your opinions to yourself, right? That's how it should be. But see, the problem with that is that they're not getting fired for saying something at work. People are getting fired for saying something on social media, right? And that should be totally separate. Those two things should not be connected, right? Because what you say on social media is your business. Yes, it's public. I get it. But nonetheless, your opinions are your own, and you're allowed to have an opinion. That should not affect the company. Why would that affect the company? If some goofballs out there are going, "Oh, look what they said. Look what they said." And "Oh, they work for that company." Well, what does that got to do with anything? Their opinions don't match the company's, right? Necessarily. Now, if they said it at the company, right, then I can understand the gripe. And how many times have you seen on TV, right? When they put a TV show up, right? And it says at the beginning of the TV show, "Oh, the viewpoints and opinions of the individuals who are speaking in this program are not necessarily the opinions of the network." So why does the media get a free pass? Why does the TV shows get a free pass? Right? That's all the company has to say. Is yes, this is an employee of ours, but our opinions do not align with their opinions. And what they do on their free time is their business. As long as they don't, express these opinions on the job or at work, then they're free to have their own opinions. You see? So you guys out there in La La Land should not be accepting this kind of behavior, that somebody can get fired from their job because of something they said on social media. See, this is what's going on in Europe now for quite some time. It started out with, "Oh, let's all have a common currency and let's all have no borders." Oh, you're all your own country, but we're going to make a European Union so that everything's much easier here. Right. Yes, that all sounded great. But the only problem is once you allowed that to happen, you opened up not a can of worms, but you released the demons upon the earth. You let the devils freely roam in society. That's what you all did. Now, I'm partly to blame for this because I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. I wasn't really political. You guys might think I'm like hyper political. I was never really political. I mean, I voted, yeah, like everybody should. But I was not hyper political. You know what I'm saying? Uh-oh, the internet's not showing now. Crap. So, I blame myself too. There was things I could have I could have spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and taught people how to be better people. And if you're a Christian, you're not going to do the stuff the left does. Don't believe the media when they say, "Oh, the religious groups, blah blah blah." Well, most of the religious groups are on the side of the left, or they're with the papacy, who is on the side of the left. You see, the papacy's not conservative. They're totalitarian. They're authoritarian. You see, they're all for control. They've been that way for forever. You know what I mean? Been that way forever. You know, they're all about ushering in this demonic Sunday, you know. And the Bible does not teach and if you're religious, the Bible does not teach Sabbath is Sunday. The Sabbath is the seventh day. That's the only day that God recognizes as the Sabbath. Sunday was always the day of the sun, right? The pagan sun god, the day of the devil worship. So I'm sorry if you guys are Christians and that doesn't sound good in your ears, but if you're a Sunday keeper, you're following the devil. Don't do it anymore. Follow the Sabbath. The Bible is very clear about what day the Sabbath is. There's so many scriptures that talk about the Sabbath. Even Jesus went into the synagogue on the Sabbath. That was the seventh day. Just because he resurrected on Sunday don't mean anything. That doesn't make Sunday holy. He rested on the Sabbath because the Sabbath was Sabbath. He didn't even break the Sabbath in death. Right? He waited until the sun was about to come up. Right? He waited until Sabbath was over. So anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about that. I'm not going to get on a religious tangent here. And I don't claim to be like super righteous or anything like that. I'm not a good person. I mean, I'm trying to be better, trying to do better, trying to be self-aware of, you know, who I am and be courteous to others and, you know, have more integrity. But, you know, truth is truth. It says what it says in the scriptures. That's undeniable. If you got a problem with that, take it up with God. What's that? Illegal one-shot given? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. He's got a hack? How long we been running now? Only an hour and 39 minutes? Wow. Boy, it seems like a lot longer than that. So when y'all go out to vote tomorrow, please don't vote Democrat. Please don't vote left. You're killing us all, is what you're doing. You're only going to hurt the poor people, and you're only going to make more poor people. I mean, this is what they want. They want a controlled, oppressed society. This is what they want. There is no other outcome here. Right? The policies that they want to put in place do nothing else. Right? If you know anything about economics and history of kingdoms, then you'll know exactly where we're heading. An oppressed society where one class of people will be on top and everyone else will be down below. Right. The elites will always be the elites, the rich will always stay the rich, and the politicians will always be taken care of. And if you want anything from them, whether it be the high-ups in the government agencies, or the politicians themselves, or the elites, or the rich people, if you want something, and you're going to have to do what they did in the past. You're going to have to bend over. You're going to have to give them something. You're going to have to get under the desk. Because this is what these people do. Right? They're not compassionate. They're not loving. They're not caring. They're not empathetic. They're evil. They're violent. They like to see people suffer. They like to be up here looking down on everyone else going, that's where they belong. Because I am better. I am higher. I am greater. I have a higher spiritual calling than they that are below me. Like this is how they think. Don't think anything else. Don't lie to yourself. Like this is like the Pope. He loves getting up there, touting the climate change thing. Climate Sunday, let's give Earth a day of rest so that we can always preserve our Mother Earth. What do you mean Mother Earth? Do you worship nature or do you worship God? I thought you guys believed in Jesus. Like, you know, Christians aren't pantheistic. But of course, the Catholic Church is not a Christian religion. Ooh, I know that's going to hurt some ears. The Catholic Church is a pagan religion. Yes, it has some Christian principles mixed in with it and Christian talk. And they believe in Jesus, but they don't believe in Jesus the way that Bible-believing Christians believe in Jesus. Right? Because Catholics believe Mary is greater than Jesus. Right? They believe that she's the Queen of Heaven, when the Bible's clear that there's only one king and ruler. God and God alone. You know, that's it. Really? Wow. Why am I using this gun? I should be using my bow. So, yeah. So that's it, you know? They're all the same. So don't think the religious groups are against the leftists. They're not. They're all on the same page. Right? So don't think that it's religious against non-religious. The religious groups are right on board with what the papacy wants to do. And the left is on board with socialism, which is what the papacy wants to do. So they're basically on the same coin, just two different sides. But the outcome, no matter what approach you want to take, whether it's religious control or what, you know, the appearance of political or leftist control, it's all going to end up the same way. Totalitarian, authoritarian. Right? Because Protestants are, there's, how many Protestant churches are left now? Yeah, you might have Methodist, Presbyterian, and all them, but all those churches are on board with the papacy now. They no longer protest the papacy anymore. And they're blasphemes. You know what I mean? They're all kissing the Pope. You know what I'm saying? They're all kissing his feet. And everybody's going to follow after what the Pope wants because he's for climate change now. He's for the whole climate agenda because that gets his religious control. They're using that as a springboard because they don't care whether totalitarian governments are in place as long as they get in place, because the Catholics always get to do what they want to do under those regimes. Right? They're never blocked from practicing their religion. Right? If you look back through history, like the Catholics, they supported Hitler. The Catholics, they supported Stalin. Right? This is what the whole thing that kind of made me laugh with the whole thing with Poland back in the day in the late 70s and early 80s. You know, with the whole walls coming down thing, like the whole Polish thing. It's like the Catholic Church wanted communism. And then they come along 70 years later and they act like they're the ones who are like the saviors, you know, championing the rights of the Polish workers. You know, it's like, my goodness, it's like, it's unbelievable. These guys are like so arrogant, you know what I mean? And they do it all out in the open because they know everybody's ignorant. Nobody knows history. And if they do know history, they're listening to these professors at college tell them nonsense. Right? And if they do feed them truth, they only feed them negative stuff. Right? They never feed the students anything positive. Right? It's always politically driven. It's not done under an objective and nonpartisan way, you know. Anyway, I think I'm done talking about all this stuff now. So just remember, we're running out of sand. Leftist women are fighting for males to take away women's rights when they support the LGBT community. Okay? And people can't have their own opinion on social media. Otherwise they get bullied not to be able to participate in the prestigious programs that people get to go to. Right? Just as I was saying just a moment ago, the elites, the politicians, and the rich. Right? If you don't fit in with their agenda, then you are not up on their level. Right? We're higher than you are. We're greater than you are. So no, you cannot come into our circle because you are not up to our intelligence level. You're not up to our enlightenment level, of our awareness level. Because you think differently, your way of thinking is lesser. So no, you cannot join in this prestigious program with us because you are an offense to us. You are a stench to us. You are a rat. You are a cockroach. Right? This is basically what they're saying when they do that. Right? I'm just keeping it real. This is what the Nazis said about the Jews prior to putting them in concentration camps. It's the same mentality. And isn't it so ironic that they will call me a fascist for calling out their fascism? They will call me a fascist because I like freedom. Right? Over oppression. They will call me a fascist because I am believe in freedom of conscience. When they are the ones that are actually to a T the textbook definition of fascism they are practicing. All the way down to the corporations, right? People have had their bank accounts closed because, what's up, Brenry? Because they said something on social media, or they say things on social media. Banks have said you can no longer have an account with us. This is what happened in Germany during the Nazi rule. Jews were not allowed to go to certain events or be in certain places anymore. This is exactly what the Nazis did. So the left claims to love humanity. They always talk about freedom. They always talk about blah, blah, blah. But yet they are the ones who are practicing the fascism. Because they are using corporations to silence people, to oppress people, to reject people. People are getting fired from their jobs. So how am I a fascist when I am for freedom, when I am for the rights of an individual? And freedom of conscience. It doesn't fit. There's no middle. There is no middle, Brenry. It's either you either believe in freedom or you don't. I mean, I know what you're saying, but you either believe in freedom or you don't. That's what this all comes down to. It doesn't matter like what side of the political spectrum you are on. Because either a society is free or it's not. There is no middle. Right? There's no middle. If you look back at history, there's no middle. America was the closest thing that we've gotten in the world to a free society. Right? And that's why they want to tear it down. You know? Again, it's not perfect, but nothing's going to be perfect. You will never get a perfect society. But that's why you have freedoms. Freedom to speak your mind, right? Freedom of the press, freedom to travel, freedom, you know what I mean? This is why you have the freedoms. So that if there is something that's not right, like truly not right, not just said isn't right, but truly not right, you can speak up and say, hey, something's not right here. But you can only have that in a free society. Right? It all works together. Like you can't have one without the other. So there is no middle. You're either free for freedom or you're not for freedom. Because if you're for any kind of oppression, then you're not for freedom. If you want to take the rights of somebody away, you're not for freedom. You know? That's it. So, you know, you you can't vote Democrat and then say, "Well, I'm for freedom." Sorry. Not going to work. Now, you could argue all day long about, "Oh, well, the right's no good either." Well, they're not, you're right, they're not. Neither side is really great, but the Democrats are on the left side, and they're also encouraging all this crazy stuff. So, you know, you have to you should vote for somebody. So either vote for more oppression and less freedom, or vote the other way, and at least hopefully we can hold this off for a while, because it's coming. The Bible says it's coming. They said they'll get to a time where you won't be able to buy or sell, except you follow after the beast. Right? So it's coming. But as voters, we can at least hold off the storm a little longer, you know, and we can help, you know, retain our freedom for a little while longer. You know, we can try to fight against it too, but you know, it's you know, it's kind of hard to hold off a tidal wave, right? You can keep building bulkheads. But eventually the waves just get bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? So, you know, it's not about Republican or Democrat anymore. It's about you're either going to vote for freedom or you're not. Like, that's what it comes down to. I'm sorry, but you know, that's just it. You might not like to hear that. I don't care. This is what people fought for during the Dark Ages. They died to bring us for their freedom of conscience. People died in wars to retain our freedom. You know what I mean? At least in the United States. I don't know how you guys feel about wherever you live in Canada or Europe or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it seems like, you know, especially in Europe, I mean, the governments there got everybody by their balls and their tits, right? Already, because, oh, we're going to lose our health care. Oh my God. You know, if we vote any other way, it's like, well, yeah, so that was dumb to begin with. Like, you must have been complaining that everybody didn't have health care, right? So, and I am going to pick a little bit here. I'm going to pick on a little bit. Everybody didn't have health care. And I'm sure the same narrative was spun then as it is today. Oh, well, people can't afford it, right? But yet they allowed the politicians to pass laws that take away half of your income every year. You didn't have health care. You said it, you couldn't afford it. But yet, you let the governments pass laws that take away half of your income every year. Can you explain to me how that makes sense? Now, here in the United States, which again is different than other parts of the world, but you could probably get a good health insurance policy as a single person, of course. You could probably pay like $600 a month. Okay? $600 a month as a single person. Okay? For health insurance. Right? Now, how much is that a year? What's 12 times 600? You know? Just let that sink in. That's $7,200 a year. And that will get me a good policy right now in the United States where I'll have health care coverage, good health care coverage. $7,200. But yet, people can't even pick up a calculator and do the math. Because if people want health care here in the United States, they're not going to pay $7,200 a month. They're going to demand what they demand in Europe, which is 40 to 50% of your annual income. Right? This is what they want to implement here. And I'm sorry, I have medical problems. And I know that people out there have medical problems. And if you really have legitimate health problems, not some, oh, I have a mental problem. I mean, this is the other thing with the left. All these leftist psychologists and scientists and all that stuff. Oh, everybody's got a disease now. They just make them up. Like, oh, yeah, you got mental illness because you're stressed out. Oh, you got mental illness because you have anxiety. Like, give me a freaking break. My childhood was a freaking mess. I have anxiety. I have to think about what happened to me when I was a kid till I die. So, if anybody's got a mental freaking illness, it would be me. But is that what I'm going to do? Go around saying, oh, I got a mental illness because, you know, I have so much trauma. No. You try to, you live through it. You live with it. Right? It's called you listen to good advice. You just say, well, yes, you had really bad issues in life. And you're not going to forget it. You never forget it. So I'm not downplaying that. But life doesn't have to stop. Right? It happened. It's in the past. It doesn't have to affect you anymore. Don't let it hurt you anymore. Right? You just say, okay, make a choice and say, okay, I can't forget what's happened. And I know it wasn't my fault. I'm not going to blame myself anymore. And I'm going to try to live a happy life. Like, this is what they should be teaching these people. Not going, oh, you got a mental problem, you know, so you need to be pampered, taken care of. You need to be take 100 pills and, you know, get free this and free that, and we're just going to, you know, it's like, what? Like, what are you doing? That's not going to fix the problem. Going on social media and telling everybody, oh, I got a mental problem. Like, what? It's like, that's not dealing with the problem. It's like people that go on social media and brag about all their terrible things that happen to them in life. 90% of those people, I would bet, have never had anything terrible happen to them in life. Because normally, and correct me if I'm wrong, But from what I gathered over the years, people who have had some really serious trauma in life, and I'm only mentioning what I'm mentioning because I'm talking about a particular subject here, right? I'm not getting into specifics though, you know? And I'm not on social media. But most people that have some serious trauma in life, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. So these people on social media who are like, oh, I've been hurt so much, and the misogyny, and I was sexually assaulted at work, and all this stuff. The people that do that on social media, most of them, that's never happened. Never happened. And even if something like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt if something slightly happened, like, oh, a coworker put his hand on their shoulder or rubbed their back or even smacked their butt. Okay, my God, it's the end of the world. That's sexual assault. I mean, give me a freaking break. Like, that's your experience? That's what traumatized you? When you have women that literally get raped, literally get beaten up to a pulp, and you're worried about frickin' what? A guy coming on to you? Give me a break. All you got to do is just say, don't do that anymore. Otherwise, I'm going to report you. Fixed. Done. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. I mean, if you're traumatized by somebody smacking you on the butt or rubbing your back or something, it's like, even if it might be kind of cringy, like, if that's going to traumatize you, then, I don't know, you got some serious restructuring of your thinking. If you think that's oppression. If you think that's violence. I mean, I've had so many girls when I was growing up smack me on the butt. Not a lot, but I'm saying that it's happened. Or they grab me in my crotch. Now, I wouldn't say go do that. Okay, I'm not condoning that. That's kind of going a little far, but but that's happened to me, and I didn't like, that didn't like devastate my brain for the rest of my life. You know, if somebody does something like that, say, hey, yo, that's highly inappropriate. You should not be doing that, and don't do that. And it's like, now if somebody's really coming on to you, like, then you need to kind of put it to an end. I understand. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you can't be, you don't have to feel, safe and secure. Don't misunderstand me. Everybody has the right to feel safe and secure. But let's not take it to like a hyper extreme here, But like I was saying before, most people who have been seriously traumatized in life do not want to broadcast it. Okay? That I know for a fact. So most of the people that are so loud on social media when it comes to that stuff are not telling the truth. They're lying, or they're exaggerating something that's kind of just irrelevant. I mean, don't you think it's kind of interesting how every time they get into a corporation, the same old thing is said? The same old scandal, right? Sexual assault, right? Or whatever else. What's the other one called? I got a mental block. Not sexual assault, but I I can't think of it now. Sorry. But you know, just inappropriate sexual advances. Okay, right? Like that's every time they go into a corporation, the same old scandal. I mean, that should be like a red flag to everybody. And then what happens when these guys take over the company? I mean, what's happened to the gaming community? I mean, look at Spider-Man. It's not a superhero game anymore. It's a pseudo superhero game. It's a propaganda game. That's what it is. Not fun. And I know people will say, "Oh, well the main quest line was fine. You don't have to do all the rest." Well, why support a game to begin with though? If it's going to make half the game like, you know what I mean? Why give them your money? Right? Make a statement. Say, we're not buying the game unless we get a superhero game. Right? We don't want a game where we don't want an adventure game where we got to get two people together as a couple. You know, we don't want an adventure game where we're, you know, spray painting on the wall and putting up political, you know, doing political messages. I mean, that's basically advertisement. Like, everybody's against putting advertisement signs in game, but hey, it's okay to put leftist propaganda, which is advertisement. The hypocrisy is like mind-boggling. You know, if you want to make a propaganda game, go ahead. Invent your own superhero. Call him Propaganda Man or Propaganda Woman. You know? And let her float around the city, posting up, you know, political signs everywhere. Right? And then she can go back to the leftist political meeting, and then they can all have an orgy there. You know, where they're all poking each other in their asses. Because that's all they do anyway, is pat themselves on the back. So good we are. So righteous we are. So enlightened we are. So much better we are. Make a game like that. Where you can help old ladies across the street. Where you can dig a hole and plant a tree. Right? Or maybe you can be anti-CO2 man or anti-CO2 woman. You can get a machine and fly around the earth and suck all the CO2 out of the atmosphere. So you can all live in a winter wonderland. Right? Make your own game. Don't ruin the ones that are already there. Because Spider-Man didn't do anything wrong. He's a fake character. Right? What is the name of the game? The name of the game is Spider-Man. It's not Spider-Man and Friends or Spider-Man and My Political Buddies. It's Spider-Man. So when people play Spider-Man, the game, they want to play Spider-Man, the superhero. Right? Am I right or wrong? Like, we're playing theHunter Primal, which is a dinosaur game. Imagine if, like, when we fired up the game, All they let us do is shoot fireworks, throw darts, play bowling, and dig holes and plant trees. And then occasionally you'll get a quest to shoot a dinosaur, maybe once every half hour. I mean, do you see where I'm coming from here? Like, this is what people don't think. They don't stop and think about what's really happening, what's really in front of them. Like, they're like, oh, well, Spider-Man was fun. I played it, and, it was cool swinging around, and, the main quest, again, that main quest argument. Did you spend $70 to play half a game as a superhero? This is why it continues, because they keep giving him money. I don't know what you mean by a broader global perspective. What do you mean by that? I'm not sure what you mean. I don't see how much more apolitical you can get by just standing up for the rights of others and freedom. What kind of perspective are we talking about here? I'm married to a Philippine girl. I've been to her poor country. She's from a poor area. I literally took a shower outside and pooped in a hole. So what perspective do I need to have? I grew up on a farm where we still had outhouses when I was a kid. We still had milk delivered to the front porch. I played outside in the dirt. I helped cultivate the fields. Like, what kind of a perspective am I lacking? What, I'm not black? That's not an argument to say that you don't understand life because you're not a certain race or color. I mean, I grew up with black people. I didn't grow up in like a white neighborhood. I grew up in a very mixed neighborhood. Yeah, Red Dead was good. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, political, but I agree with you, kind of, because that's all politics, right? The politics are what separate us. You know what I'm saying? This is why morals can't be based on politics. Like, your morals can't be based on a political ideology. This is why most societies that were built on the basic 10 Commandments, right, even though they weren't religious, were the ones that were free, the most free, right? So this is why when you base your morals on, like, say, the Bible as a guide, right? I'm not saying that you force people to follow everything in there, but the Bible is a good guide, right? Most people who actually read the Bible will say, this is actually a pretty good book. It actually tells people to love their neighbor, to love their enemy, to be caring and giving. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Bible in itself, even if you looked at it as just a book of philosophy, there is no greater book to inspire the best in humanity. There is none. You can't find any. So that's why communism was never good. You know, that's why socialism's never good. You know, dictatorships, which basically usually end up coming under socialist countries and communism, are never good. Like I said, the United States was and is the template for having a country most free. It isn't perfect, but there's nothing you can conjure up that's better. See, Europe has already lost. Asian countries, you know, are starting to be lost. South American countries are turning socialist, so they're lost, you know. I mean, you see Brazil, you see all the... Where am I at here? I'm confused. Okay, here we go. Brazil, you can see the media's attacking them because there's people there that want to retain that free society. But the media attacks them as soon as anybody stands up and talks about that. You see? So this is a worldwide movement that's against freedom of conscience. Look, I understand you're going to bring up examples, but Sweden is not a good country. They still have cancel culture. See, again, people miss the point here. You're not free if you can't be free. And Sweden has one of the highest rape statistics because they've had their borders wide open, just letting everybody pour in like they're doing here in the United States. And they wonder why now in the United States crime is so high in the cities, because all these immigrants that they let in here illegally, they got nothing to do. They got nowhere to work. So they have to survive, so they're going to commit crimes. So in Sweden, you have a high rape culture now because, you know, sorry to say, but these Islamic and Muslims, they don't care about Christian culture. They don't care about leftist culture. All they care about is you better do what we say, otherwise you're an enemy of Allah. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same mentality, just they're using religion. So no, Norway, Sweden, Finland, nope, 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 nope. Go dig deeper into what's going on in those places. No place that has adopted socialism and this leftist ideology is good anymore. A society is not free if you can't speak freely without punishment. I don't care. Comfort does not negate freedom. And you're talking about Sweden. Everybody keeps bringing up countries that have like 5 million people. And no, those countries are not like... Everybody thinks that it's socialism that made those countries, anything good about them. No. It's like some of those countries, the only reason they're doing good now is because they got oil. And the oil is the primary income of the country. So that's where they're getting the money from. The evil petroleum. So how hypocritical is that? How are they supposed to fight climate change if one of their primary income sources, it might be Norway that with the oil, but whatever. You get I'm talking about any one of them. Right? So, it's not socialism that saved the day. They would be doing just as bad as Europe right now if they didn't have the oil. And still kept that same system. And again, there are a few amount of people. But if you go onto the other side of the world now in South America, Venezuela, we can use that as an example. Right? They probably have more people than say Sweden or Norway. But they have a lot of oil. And they're socialist. And there's a great big disparity between rich and poor there. Even though there's a lot of poor people there versus the rich people. Now I wonder why that is. Well, could it be the fact that they have a larger population? And could it have to do with maybe their culture was different to begin with? See, you're talking about the Nordic countries. They originally had a different kind of an attitude than the rest of the world. So probably in the beginning, they were kind of like on what you termed as middle. Well, you want this, you don't want this, so where can we compromise? So they compromised. But the leftist ideology still crept in. You see? They still have cancel culture there. They still have bullying there. So Venezuela didn't turn out that way. Because you had a very large population that went communist, and you had the minority population which was for freedom. Right? Capitalism, free trade. We create our own ladder of success based on opportunity, And now in Venezuela, the leaders of that country are all very rich. They eat very well. And the rich people, guess what? They didn't disappear. The super rich are still super rich there. And guess what else? That evil petroleum that we all keep talking about? Well, Venezuela happily is selling that to China. They won't let their own people have it. You can only fill up, I think, a couple times a week. Or it's too expensive to even afford. But hey, they're selling millions and millions of barrels to China. You see? China, the champion of helping the climate get better. Just like Europe. They praise China. Again, I will say the word hypocrite. Hypocritical. That's all they are. They say one thing and do the other. They're lying. That's it. They're deceiving. It's open now. It should be obvious to everybody. Stop making excuses for it. Stop trying to justify it. Stop trying to defend it. Right? This is what deception is, right? Is your brain gets so scrambled that you can't even see what's going on. There's only freedom or not freedom. They can't exist in the same space. The Earth is not going to die from climate change. Period. The Earth is not set up for that, to do that. And this is what everybody's scared of. Like they got them. Everybody's scared, and that's what it always comes down to. Oh, we got to save the planet, so you have to vote this way. And again, everybody just grabbed it, hook, line, and sinker. Amazing. Is climate change happening? Maybe. But doomsday's not going to happen because of it. That's not how the planet works. You don't even have to be a scientist to know that. Just living life, you just know how physics work. I mean, unless you've been staring at a wall your entire life and locked in a closet. In fact, again, I will argue, why not let the Earth warm up? Let it warm up. That means we're going to have more water, more land. We're not going to have less land. We're going to have more land. So what? Who cares about the beaches? So the beach moves what? I don't know. A quarter of a mile further inland? Around the whole world? Why is that bad? I mean, we want to save the all this like complaining about our shorelines we want to save. So why not create more? What, you care about the rich people who've got the nice beach homes on the beach? $1 million homes? Like the leftists are always crying about, oh, the billionaires, oh, they got too much money. It's like, well, so what, you want to defend the rich people on the beach? Again, hypocritical. Make up your mind. I mean, you should be praising. Say that's the best way to wipe out all those houses that are supposed to be so bad for the beach. So bad for the ecology. All that beach that we would lose, all that shoreline that would move in further is nothing compared to the amount of land that would be created. You got Greenland, you got the Antarctica, you got the Siberia. My goodness, that's a lot. You got northern Canada. You know, maybe at the very extreme poles, you might still have some ice caps. No, I did see it. I've been reading it. I'm sorry. I appreciate my my beard that I'm too lazy to shave. Yeah, I read all your messages. I mean, I just, I don't know what to say. Brenry, the hourly wage, how many decades have we raised the minimum wage? See, you still don't get it. You create opportunity, right? Opportunity. You don't give people more money. More money does not create things. Right? I was just teaching my kids that if all we are in life is consumers, right? If all we do is consume, then what are we not doing? If all we're doing is consuming, right? Right? If all we're doing is consuming, then we're not producing. Okay? So when you give people free things all the time, if you just throw money at people, then all they end up doing is consuming. Right? They don't produce anything. Why? Because they're not motivated to produce anything. You see? They're expecting you to give it to them. Right? So I'm not sure like the mentality between we got to make a living wage. Well, there's always been poor people all throughout history. Like no kingdom that's ever existed has ever been able to find the solution to poverty. And everybody seems to be so uptight about eating, sleeping, having a house, and all that. Right? And all those things are important, don't get me wrong. But people are more concerned about the comforts in life than their freedom. And that's a serious problem. We've been raising the minimum wage for decades. And how has that helped? How has that helped? It doesn't help. It never helps. Ever. Never. Never once did it help to bring people out of poverty. I know, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? It sounds so silly me saying that. Because, wait a second, I've always been told if we raise the minimum wage, then that's going to make life better. No, it doesn't make life better. It only makes life better when you have good policies in place. Right? The problem with the left is they don't make good policies. They want to throw free money at people because they want to buy votes. All they care about is getting in power. They don't care what the end result's going to be. Right? They're trying to get the majority in place so that they can finally take over control. Right? That's the whole goal here. That's the goal back in the 1920s when you had to push for communism. Once they gain the majority finally, and unfortunately they always do. So Brenry, if you're all for them, well, it's going to happen. Because people fall for the same old BS and lies every single time. Because the younger generation has no idea what it was like in the older generations. The younger generation is always the entitled one. Right? They're the ones who always say, oh, we can do it better. Your way is old and outdated. It's the same old thing over and over. People were saying it when I was a kid. People were saying it when my mother was a kid, and she's 80 years old now. She's told me the same thing. Every generation, it's the same. They always want to change what's been working. And make it worse. All the while telling everybody everything's going to get better. Like, things were not bad back in the 80s. 70s and 80s. The wages were kind of in line with living wage. So I don't know where you were living. New Jersey is not exactly a cheap state to live in. But it was only when the Democrats started taking more control over policy that things gradually went downhill. Right? Because in order for people to prosper, you have to create jobs, number one. And you have to create opportunity. And how do you create opportunity? Well, by working the economy, right? So the economy has to support opening up opportunities. If the economy is and policies are in such a place that opportunities are not supported in the economy, then it's a downhill spiral from there. That's how you get high inflation and all that stuff. You know, printing money, all this other garbage that they just continually do. You know, it's detrimental, right? I mean, Trump, my God, the evil guy Trump, he was sending money to the inner cities so that people can have opportunity. Now that goes against what I think he should have done, but he still threw it out there because people were crying for the need of something to better the cities. And what do the Democrats do? Oh no, they didn't say good for Trump. They didn't say that's a good idea. They didn't say let's go to the cities and help people use this money to help them prosper. No, they didn't do that. They encouraged rioting. They had hate speech. Right? They encouraged violence and destruction instead. And now look at our cities. You see? So you can say all these things. Oh, well, minimum wage, if it goes up, it's good. No, it isn't. It's not good. It's never helped ever. It's policy. You have to have proper policy to encourage a good economy. And when you have a good economy, then everybody starts prospering. But giving out free stuff is not a way to make the people prosper. That drags down the economy. Printing out money and throwing it to people, that does not encourage a good economy. That drags it down. Right? None of these things are easy to say. And trust me, hey, the government want to throw me some money, I'm not going to reject it. But it's not going to help me in the long run. It's only going to hurt me or my children later. You see? So that's just how economics work. Like I said, the left already has a fascist mind. So once you have a fascist mind, and I'm talking about the left, meaning our political leaders, the elites, the rich people that are on board with this stuff, the corporations. The only people who can get us out of this problem is the people, we the people. And if we the people adopt these fascist ideas, which is what they are, very clearly, then things will not get better no matter how much they tell you they're going to get better. No matter how much they're going to say, if we do this, things will get better. If we do that, things are going to get better. They're not going to get better. You're going to sacrifice your freedom. If having food on your table and a bed to sleep in and comforts of a home are all you care about, then you're going to sacrifice your freedom. But the ironic thing is what I just said. You don't need to sacrifice your freedom to have prosperity. Right? We've had decades and decades and decades ever since the Revolutionary War that proved that if people shoot for the stars, they can get closer. They may not reach the star, but if they take the time and effort and they have the ambition, they can get closer. They can move up that ladder. But see, the left wants to take the ladder away. They don't want it there at all. Do you see? They don't want it there at all. They want them up there and us down here. There's going to be a big gap in between. And everybody down here will have their food stamps. They'll have their free health care. But watch what you say, because you won't be able to speak freely. Watch what you do, because you won't be able to do anything freely. You'll be able to do what they tell you can do. You see? If that's your idea of utopia, then more power to you, then whatever. That's not a free society. You can have prosperity without having socialism. Now, I don't mind helping sick people. If you really got a serious problem, then fine. The state can give you some health care. I don't have a problem with that. But just because a psychologist says that all of a sudden 50 million people have mental illness and they need to get free health care, well, that's stupid. That's just dumb. And that's a lie. Because even mentally ill people can work. They can produce something. You know what I'm saying? No. Well, a lot of stuff is going to be redundant. That's true. But, well, that's what I'm saying, though. But that's the politicians. You think all this stuff just happens in a vacuum? Again, you're not seeing you're not seeing behind the scenes what's going on here. There's an agenda. There's an agenda to push us in a certain direction. Right? There's plenty of other things like, especially if you already have a degree, then you already got a nice head start. You know what I'm saying? You can go back to college, right? And just get some credits in another field or whatever the case is, right? And me at 52 getting a college degree, well, that's going to be a little more difficult. Not saying it's impossible or anything. But I have no degree. I was a warehouse worker. That's what I was. So that prepared me for no other skills. But see, the left and the teachers and the professors at colleges, see, they pushed out the trade skills over time. Right? And now look at the predicament we're in. We're short of electricians. We're short of, carpentry work. Carpenters, and other stuff like that. Right? Engineers. That was them. You see, so there's always been an agenda to change things on purpose. Yeah, it's true that in our age of technology, things kind of some things are no longer needed, right? Like we don't need Blockbuster video anymore, right? Because everybody wants to buy digital. So, but again. Oh, no. Oh, my God. wow, he's not far. He must have put down a... I wonder if he put the... Oh, no, that's where his body landed. You know, we're partly to blame for this, right? What I was telling you earlier, right? We want everything to come easily, right? So, you know, we're partly to blame for how things are turning out. But again, it all still comes down to policy. Policy is a big part of everything. Like the reason why people are they're getting laid off at Intel and all these other companies is because right now the economy sucks, right? People aren't making as much money. Wages are stagnant. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, stop looking at the surface and look at what's happening behind, and stop trying to point fingers. You know, like if it's like the policy that the politicians put in place matter. And they're the ones that are ultimately responsible. And the fact that we have all these like government agencies, they don't help either, right? Like the left always talks about, oh, bad corporations, but yet they certainly don't have a problem allowing these companies to just keep merging. Is that a Republican thing? Because right now the Democrats are in power. You know what I'm saying? They were in power when Trump was in office. So they don't want to change anything. Again, it's all just talk. Well, you know, my kids are going to have it hard. Anybody who speaks against the system. And really, we should all be on the same board here with this. Right? We can have our arguments about climate change. We can have our arguments about racism. Like, no one's against that. You see? No one is against that. But when you just say my way or the highway and I want to step on your rights, well, you know, that's a problem. Again, you can have these conversations without taking the freedom out of the mix. Like I said, does everybody really have to lower carbon emissions? Or does only some people? Now, the argument that, you know, the Tonight Show, right, would say is that, well, we all got to do it. Because we all got to be forced to do it, because if we're not forced to do it, then we won't do it. Well, again, though, nobody wants to have the real argument, though, of whether climate doomsday is really something that could happen. Right? Because it's really just all speculation right now. That's all it ever will be. Because it's never happened before. They look at the models, and that's what they go by. But models are not reality. Models are just mathematical figures that people put in there that spit out an outcome. Right? Based on the data that was put in there. And if the data that was put in there is based on a wrong or inaccurate premise to begin with, then the data is no good. And if only certain data is collected when it comes to the climate change thing, then that's no good either. Cherry-picked data, you see? So this is the problem. Whenever anybody brings up, hey, what's up, Hawk? Whenever anybody brings up a counter-argument to climate change doomsday, mind you, not climate change, but climate change doomsday, they are immediately cut off. They're immediately blocked. Their tweet or whatever they put on social media is blocked. Their video is taken off of YouTube. Well, not always, but most of the time. Or there's a message on the front of it that says, "Oh, climate change is blah 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 caused by human beings." But that's not even an accurate statement, because it's still based off of a perceived premise. What's up, Hawk? You didn't join into anything. You joined my stream. What are you surprised about? Elections are tomorrow. I'm going to speak my mind before Election Day and let people know at least my perspective on things, so that they can at least sit down and think a little bit before they make that very important vote tomorrow. It's not presidential, but still, every election matters, not just the presidential one. That way, when everything goes to crap, and if YouTube doesn't take down my video, I can say, "Told you so." Don't complain now that your freedom is taken away. Don't complain now that, oh, your tweet got blocked, or that your video got taken down from YouTube because you didn't say the right thing, or oh, you almost got fired today because of something you posted. You know, don't come back and say, well, Game Cooker, you didn't tell me. Another Rex? Did I kill the Rex? I thought I killed the Rex. I guess there's another Rex. Hawk, this has actually been a pretty good hunt. We've been killing a lot of Rex. F-Blast has been getting blasted by T-Rex. Unfortunately. Oh, yeah. What's up, Hawk? Are you still there, or did you get scared off? You know, you have to make a decision about whether you want to associate yourself with me. God forbid somebody sees that you were talking to me, to somebody who was trying to tell the truth. And just like the story that I talked about earlier about that Final Fantasy singer, man, there were people on Twitter saying, "Go look at her post. Go look at her post. You better look at her post." And now she can't sing at the event, or she can't attend the prestigious event because she had she liked a tweet that somebody tweeted. It wasn't even something she said. I think she just liked the tweet. You know, or maybe she just said, "Oh, I agree." I don't know. She didn't really say anything. She just agreed with the tweet. And that's a shame. If you want to play something later, we can. Check out that game that I sent you a link. The Void, or whatever it's called. I think you can play that 2-man co-op. You can have a small ship, and we might be able to manage it. I'm not really sure like what it's totally about, but I know there's ship management involved. Yeah, but that's the problem. You don't change what? What do you want to change? See, this is what I was saying earlier, which you missed. The younger generation is always convinced that they have to change everything. If you lived back in the 80s, then you would have seen no purpose to change anything. Now, Brenry will have obviously, he'll have an argument against that, I'm sure. But in the 80s, at least where I'm from, in the megalopolis area, right, that's all cities up here and population, we were happy dressing however we wanted to dress and act however we wanted to act and be flamboyant and be sexually open and all this other stuff. And everybody just, kind of got along. Were there bad apples? Of course. There's going to be bad apples everywhere in every generation. You're never going to get rid of them. That's a pipe dream. Okay? When you're in a free society, then you're going to have a-holes. Right? That's just one of the things that you have to deal with. Is a-holes. Okay? Otherwise, it's not a free society. If people can't speak the way they want to speak and act the way they want to act, then it's not a free society. Like, this is what the point I was making earlier. I don't want to keep reiterating it since you weren't here, but that's what I was saying. You can't have freedom and no freedom in the same space. You either have a free society where people can talk freely, they can act freely, they can behave freely with, of course, we all can all agree on some restraints. What is it that you want to change? We've been changing things for decades. Right? They said coal was bad. So we shut down the coal mines. They said hydrofluorocarbons were bad. They're making a hole in the ozone. So we got rid of those. They said we need to preserve our forests and habitats. So we did that. We have forest and habitat preserves all over the place. They said that we need to be more smart when we're doing petroleum and drilling and stuff. So we did that too. Will accidents happen sometimes? Of course. It's kind of stupid to think that there would never be an accident. But we know now versus before, right? And the media doesn't talk about this. Is we know now that even with a massive oil spill, even though some animals might get affected immediately, the ecosystem always recovers. Because we know now that there's bacteria that break down the oil and digest it. Okay? So it's not even as bad as we thought it was before. CC? So what exactly do we need to change? We've been improving things like time and time again, but it's never enough. You see? And that's the point I was making earlier. It's never enough. Because the left has to always have something that they're going to tell you needs to be done, otherwise it's catastrophe. Otherwise, humanity's at risk. Otherwise, unfortunate communities are going to suffer. And they always have to have unfortunate communities, right? That's why they never bring any out of poverty. And the only way that they do bring them out of quote-unquote poverty is to make everyone poor in a socialist society. Then you're all equally poor. You got your food stamps, you got your free health care, but you got no life. Except for drinking alcohol and doing drugs. Because that's what all poor countries end up doing. Because they got nothing to do. They can't live their lives. Like Cuba. Everybody just sits on their porch all day. Because they got nothing to do. They got no money to go anywhere. And plus they're not allowed to travel easily. You have to have a really good reason to leave the country. And you probably got to have some money. You see? So what is it you need to change? What do we need to change? We're all on board. I'm a conservative now, and I kind of was probably always. Just voted the wrong way. I grew up on a farm. We respected the environment. I never had anything against the environment. I love the outdoors. I love hiking, mountain climbing, all that stuff. I love the beach. Why would I want to destroy that which I love? And this is how most people are. Most people are not for destroying the environment, dumping chemicals in the ground, polluting the air. But see, everything's redefined every generation. See, carbon monoxide was pollution when we grew up. That was the evil one. And lead and heavy metals and chemicals like from paper plants and stuff like that, they were the enemy when we were growing up. So we fixed all that. We got clean water now, clean streams, clean environment for the most part. Some people, do some dumb things and they have to be reprimanded, but for the most part, everybody's kind of like on board. So now what do you do? What do you do now? What do you do now that we all recycle like we were told? We all throw our trash out like we're told. We all don't litter like we're told. We all are preserving our wonderful habitats like we were told. We're not polluting the air anymore like we used to. Like we were told. We shut down the coal mines, Brenry, because we were said it was bad. So people lost their jobs. So now we're making plastic instead of glass. Right? Plastic. So much better than glass. Right? Oh, nuclear plants. The thing that everybody should be saying we should be building more of, they want to shut them down. They're like the safest forms of energy production that we could ever have. There's less lives lost in history from nuclear plants than any other form of energy production. Bet you didn't know that. And today's power plants are the most safe. They have automatic shutdown procedures based on how it's built, not simply redundant systems in an electrical circuit. The way that the actual reactor is built, it will shut itself down. It will slowly cool itself down. So they're safe now. But the left doesn't want them. Why? Because that'll solve their problem. Oh, excuse me. It won't solve their problem because they just want power. They just want control. I know that this all sounds crazy, like I'm the crazy person, but all the proof is right in front of your face. There's nothing to change. We all know what to do as individuals. Don't throw your trash on the ground. Now CO2 is the enemy because they need something. What can we make the enemy now because everything else was fixed? So now we have to create something. CO2, yes, that's our new pollution. The thing that is essential for life on the planet. Without it, we would all die. They're actually convincing everyone that a life essential gas is bad for us. Bad for the planet. And again, everybody's just hook, line, and sinker. Anyway, I was going to end, Hawk. I didn't want to get back on that tangent. But if you want to hear everything I said, watch the video. And watch the part about the sand, female dinosaurs, and the Final Fantasy singer. Because apparently, we have to worry about sand now. It's never going to stop. It just gets crazier and crazier. My goodness. And keep buying video games that only give you half the game you wanted. If you want to buy a superhero game, make sure that only half of it is you playing as the superhero. Okay? If you want to buy a race car game, then make sure that the one you buy is only you racing a car half the time. Right? Make sure that the other half is you fishing, is you shooting fireworks up in the air, is you digging holes planting trees, and is you spray painting graffiti on the side of a wall. Okay? So don't buy any games that you want unless it only has half of what you want. Okay? That's my advice. Pay full price for a game that only has half of what you want. Now, if you want to know what I'm talking about there, you have to watch the rest of the video. I do have to get off, though, because I have to eat. Doesn't look like there's anybody around here anymore. But, Hawk, if you want to play a game later, let me know. I'll try to get back on later. Check out that game. I think it's called The Void. Look at that one if you get time. And let me know if you want to play that together. Like, maybe tonight we can play it. I don't know. I got to see if I got money. Kind of on a poor side right now. But, I'll be happy to try it out. It is co-op, like I said. Alright, let me kill this bird and then maybe... Oh, I got it. Look at that. Is it going to fall? I got it. That was a long way. It's not the first time I've done that. But I didn't think I was going to get it. Come on, die. It's going to die. Come on, die, 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 die. Die. Come on. Come on, die. It should. I imagine it's going to fall. Let's see. Come on. Come over here. Got it. There we go. There we go. Well, that's a good way to end off things, huh? Yeah, I was really ranting today. I talked about a lot of different things. But like I said, it's election day tomorrow, and people need to make... Oh, man, they need to just stop accepting what they're being told in the media and politicians, man, and just... Again, if you vote for freedom, that's it. If any ideology goes against freedom of conscience, then it's bad. Like that's the point I'm trying to make here. It's bad. It's not good. Like free healthcare, food stamps, is that really what you're willing to sell? Your freedom for that? And you don't need to, like I said, you just need to build up a robust economy. When you have a robust economy, everybody's working, prices of things go down, corporations love hiring, you can start your own business because demand is there. It's like, ugh. But yet they say capitalism, oh, it's bad, let's get rid of it. Like, really? And what are you going to replace it with? Look at Venezuela. And Europe is not good. Don't let the media fool you. People are not happy in Europe. Because now they're starting to find out all these older people there that voted for this garbage. They're like going, they're taxing my retirement. They want to take money away from my retirement now. Because the government is never satisfied. Right? Because you've created a consumer, you've essentially created a consumer society, except the ultimate consumer is the government. You've created the master consumer in a socialist society. And when the government does not is only all about consuming, it doesn't produce. And when the government doesn't produce, then the citizens have to pay the price. Yeah, well, you're one of the few. But can you say whatever you want in public? Can you say whatever you want in social media? But you might be a hunter, right? You might be somebody who lives in the country, who doesn't have to deal with it. Like me. You know, we live in kind of an area that's kind of away from everything. You know? Just because some people are happy with the system doesn't make it a good one. You love paying taxes, I guess, huh? And that's the thing. If you love doing the silly things, like paying taxes out the gazoo, then what can I tell you? If you're happy with the government taking your money, what can I say? Anyway, I gotta go. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace. Until next time. If there is a next time. You never know. The FBI might come knocking on my door. Because they have to remove me from the talking heads. I've looked into the system that the Europe has. I'm not ignorant. You know what I'm saying? There you go. He says he loves taxes. So he's been brainwashed to believe that taxes are a good thing. You know what I mean? Or I should say overly taxed. I don't think the average person minds paying taxes reasonably. But I'm not going to get in an argument about that. Like I said, there's going to always be some people who are happy with the system, but at what expense? You see what I'm saying? And again, it depends on where you live. You may not be one of the ones who are affected by the system, right? I guarantee you the poor people in the city are affected by the system. Right? I'm sure that all the millions of unhappy people are the ones affected by the system. You're always going to have some who don't care one way or the other. Right? Like all the people that are up there in the high places, they don't care. Right? Because they're making good money. Right? But God forbid if they spoke against the system. Right? Then they would be ostracized. They would be kicked out. They would be silenced. So if you're okay with that kind of a system, again, well, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Then that means you don't really care about the other guy. The one who's being affected by the system. You see? And Hawk, my sister lives in Australia. She's married to an Australian. My dad has been to Australia, and he hates it there. He likes it there, but he hates the system. You see what I'm saying? So, again, if you grew up in a nanny state, then you're going to like the nanny state. Like people who grew up in communism are going to have no problems with communism. You see? Because you got no reference point. That's all you knew. But that's why they want these systems to be in place. Because they know they got you. They got you, they got your grandkids, they got your great-grandkids. Because there's not going to be anything to compare it to. See, the media wants to tell the world that, oh, everything's so bad here in America. Well, the only people making it bad here right now are the Democrats. But America has always been a nation of prosperity, of opportunity, right? Of plenty of jobs. That's why people came here. It wasn't like Europe, where you're getting taxed to death. We don't need to get taxed to death. We have prosperity, right? You make an economy that makes prosperity, that opens up opportunity. And see, this is where the blinders are for you guys. All you know is what you know. You got nothing to compare it to. And that might sound offensive, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Like I said, my dad went to Australia. My sister lives in Australia. She likes the system here much better than Australia. And Australia probably isn't that bad, like as far as like compared to Europe, where you're taxed to death, everything's expensive. You know what I'm saying? And there is lots of people that are unhappy because they've done a poll. Right? The people who do the real polls. You know? There's been a sentiment of unhappiness growing there. Right? So, and I'm talking about the European Union. Right? Not like you in your little corner of the woods in your own country. You know? So, you know. So again, it depends on your perspective. If you come from a free country and go to a less free country, you notice it. If you come from a less free country and go to a free country, you notice it. You see? Like when the communists came here in the 80s or whenever it was, the scientists, right, from communist Russia, when the wall fell and they came over here and they were meeting up with the scientists, they were like flabbergasted. Like, they couldn't believe how the scientists here lived. Like, the scientists here had jobs. They all had big houses. They were all making good money. Right? They had all the amenities of life. Whereas in Russia, they were like living in these like row houses. You know what I'm saying? Or these lesser cottages, you know, because that's all the government would give them. You see? So again, it's all perspective. So that's why they want to run America to the ground right now. They don't want the prosperity here anymore. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it. I got to go. Love y'all. Sorry if I offended anybody, but whatever. I'm going to say what I got to say. You guys believe what you want to believe. I know what I know. Peace. Bye.